Hello. It's good to see you. Today we are going to be taking a look at this book called Generation T, and it includes 108 ways to transform a t-shirt. Thought this would be fun to look at. And while we look at it, as we go through here, I'm going to show you one that I want to make in a future video. This thing has lots of great ideas in it. To everyone who finds treasure in trash. We have different categories of items you can make with t-shirts. You could use some of your own t-shirts, or you could go buy a t-shirt. I know you can get them at thrift stores really cheap. To start with, here we have the anatomy of a t-shirt. Do you know a t-shirt has an anatomy? It does. Here you have a seam. This is the neckband, and this is a sleeve. And when you cut the neckband, you're going to cut just below the seam approximately 1/8 of an inch. And when you cut here, you're going to cut just inside the seam approximately 1/8 of an inch there. And then down here, we have the bottom hem. And when you cut this part, you're going to cut just above the hem approximately 1/8 of an inch. Just inside the seam here, you're going to cut approximately 1/8 of an inch inside of that seam. Some terms to know for cutting instructions, because you're going to see diagrams like these in the instructions. The hem is that inch or so of fabric folded under and sewn in place at the bottom of almost every t-shirt. In these projects, you won't be sewing hems, just using the existing ones. And then a seam is where two edges or panels of fabric are sewn together as at the shoulders of a t-shirt. So you have this seam here where the sleeve is, and then this seam where this sleeve is. You can cut them any way you want, with a pair of scissors or a blade or a rotary cutter, a seam ripper, whatever. I'll just use a plain old pair of scissors. And you just need basic tools like needles, thread, straight pins, safety pins, pump pins, like little buttons, you know, tailor's chalk. We're not going to be doing any sewing, so you don't need a sewing machine or anything. Ruler, measuring tape, cardboard, stuffing, and batting. And you're not going to need all of that for every single project. And then here you can write in your measurements, and you could just keep those for reference later. And then they have some information about the stitches. Right now, we're just moving on through to some of the craft ideas. Some of the things you can do with shirts. Some of these are pretty ingenious. Here we go. Here's the first one. This looks really super easy. Scoop. There it is. Look at that. This is a perfect intro to shirt DIY. This design is a flashback to Flashdance. It doesn't get any easier than this. You've probably already made this shirt at some point in your life, but didn't understand its significance. It says here, this is the gateway drug of t-shirt deconstruction. It makes you want to do more. So pull up your leggings, spread the glitter on thick, and put another dime in the jukebox, baby. Very easy. The first step here, you're going to lay the t-shirt flat and cut off the edge of each sleeve just above the hem stitching. And it's going to give you a raw edge that's going to end up kind of rolling up on its own. You don't even have to do it. And then optionally, you can cut off the bottom of the shirt just above the hem. Oh, and they give you the ingredients. It's like a recipe. You need one t-shirt that's not fitted and a pair of scissors. And that's it. Step number 2, you cut out the neck band. It's big. You're going to make a big cut there. And number 3, try on the shirt. If the neck isn't scooped enough, for best effect, it should slide off one shoulder. Take off the shirt and widen the neck by cutting out more fabric. It's smart to snip a little at a time, trying on the shirt after each alteration. It may seem tedious, but the end result is worth it. And they have some variations for this one too. Let's see. You could go totally 80s and gather the bottom of the shirt, if it's large enough, into a knot at your hip. 80s pop fashion. There ain't nothing better. So I remember doing this. Oh my gosh, I'm so old. You just tie it in a little knot. Or just cinch it to accentuate your positives. Both of them. See Project 37 Bodice Snipper for the no-sew gathering. So you could do a little gather right there. You can also make a deep scoop in the back. It's a deep scoop, and attach t-shirt strips to the top of each shoulder and tie at the back of your neck. It's a quick fix if you cut so much fabric from the neck that it won't stay on. Well, that is cool. If you cut it too far and it's just falling off, you can just tie it together back there. And then here we have Slash and Sash. I don't see any difference. I guess all I'm seeing is this thing down here. I guess this is attached to the shirt. The top looks the same. 1 part sash, 1 part swift kick in the pants, and just a pinch of femininity. You don't have to be a kung fu master to achieve this ass-kicking style. Channel Bruce Lee, Uma Thurman, or go old school with the Karate Kid. Oh, but without the karate. No board breaking, no wasted money on lessons, and no fly catching with chopsticks. Just 2 t-shirts in one afternoon, and you'll have instant fighter instincts. Now for this one, you're going to need 2 t-shirts, preferably 1 fitted, 1 extra large in different colors or patterns. And then you're going to need scissors, straight pins, needle, and thread. Okay, here's the first step. Lay the smaller t-shirt flat and cut out the neck band. Cut off the edges of the sleeves and the bottom just above the hem stitching. And number 2. Choose the side on which you'd like your t-shirt to tie and make a 4-inch vertical cut from the bottom of the shirt. And then you're going to set this shirt aside. Okay, step number 3. Lay the larger t-shirt flat. Cut off the bottom just above the hem stitching. Then cut approximately 5 inches from the bottom of the shirt through both layers, creating a tube. Snip through 1 layer so that you're left with 1 long strip. Number 4. Fold the strip in half so you'll have a long strip about 2.5 inches wide. Cut the ends on a diagonal as shown. Step number 5. Tuck in 1/2 inch of fabric along each side of the open edge of the folded strip, including the ends, and pin. So you're going to put little pins through it. Number 6. Pin the pinned edge of the strip along the lower edge of the smaller t-shirt, matching the middle of the strip with the uncut side of the shirt. Let the excess strip length dangle. Number 7. Using a whip stitch, sew the shirt and strip together along the pinned edge. Start at one end of the dangling tie and work your way around the base of the shirt, ending with the second end of the dangling tie, all the way around. And then step number 8, remove the pins, fold the strip down, slip the shirt on, and tie it up. Wax on, wax off. Oh, and they have a nice variation. If you want to play with the karate look, use different colors from other t-shirts to upgrade your belt status. Use the same belt technique to add a bow around the neck of a shirt. So you could just do, instead of having a sash, you put the bow up at the top. See Project 1 Scoop. So you would cut this out, and then that is where you would add the tie at the top. This one is called Brokenhearted. I hope there's something behind there. I'm pretty sure there is. This is the perfect way to get out some aggression over that recent breakup. Even better if the t-shirt you slash was left behind by that not-so-special someone. Put on Bon Jovi's You Give Love a Bad Name or your own favorite breakup ballad and go to town with those scissors. Just don't get too carried away or you'll end up with a pile of t-shirt confetti. What do we need for this? We need one t-shirt, preferably fitted, tailor's chalk, cardboard flap, and scissors or a razor blade. Let's see. Okay, step number 1. You're going to turn the t-shirt inside out. With a piece of chalk, sketch the shape of a heart across the torso of the shirt. Optional, cut out the neckband and cut off the sleeve ends to make the edges raw, but you don't have to. Step number 2, draw parallel lines horizontally inside the outline of the heart, approximately 1 inch apart. Step number 3, insert the cardboard flap between the layers of the shirt and being sure to cut through only the front panel of the shirt, slash along the chalk lines. Step number 4, turn the shirt right side out and layer it over a tank top or another tee. So you have this nice heart shape with the, and see, once you cut it, these unfinished edges just kind of roll up on their own like that. So you don't have to make it look that way, it just does. In a variation, you can follow the same chalk and slash technique with any pattern you want. Sketch it out on a piece of paper first and then transfer it to a t-shirt. Like you can do one in a butterfly shape. Here's some tea trivia. Back in my day, in 1942, a package of 3 t-shirts cost only $1.10. Boy, that's pretty good. Okay. Oh, there's an interesting one. Fringe benefits. These just all make me think of the the 80s. Pleasantly punk. Maybe I don't like that one. Ruffle and Tumble. Well, here's an interesting idea. Ruffle and Tumble. Got a chip on your shoulder? Good. Add some ruffles. Now, to really ruffle some feathers, pick a shirt with an inflammatory slogan, be it political, personal, or just plain rude. Well, this is just about baseball and softball. Anyway, for this recipe, you're going to need 1 fitted t-shirt, scissors, measuring tape, 1 or 2 t-shirt scraps, small in contrasting color to the base t-shirt, tailor's chalk, needle, thread, and straight pins. Okay, step number 1. Lay the shirt flat and cut off the sleeves just outside of the seams. So you're going to leave the seams on there. Step number 2. Measure the circumference of 1 armhole and add 2 inches to determine the size of the sleeve ruffle. Step number 3. On the t-shirt scrap material, draw out and then cut 2 matching crescent-shaped pieces whose length along the straight edge is equal to the measurement determined in step 2. Step number 4. Baste along the straight edge of each crescent. Gather the fabric evenly over the thread, shortening the length by about 1/3. So you're going to run the thread through there, woo, and then just kind of gather it up a little bit. Step number 5. Center the stitched edge of the ruffled crescent along the top of each armhole and pin in place, right side to right side as shown. So when you actually pin it on there, the ruffles are going to be pointing inward, and you have this stitching exposed here. Then using a whip stitch, sew along the pinned edge. So you're just going to go around and around and around. Step number 6, remove pins, and then you just fold out the ruffles and it's ready to wear. Here's a quote: "The t-shirt will never go out of fashion because it's already beyond fashion." That's from Elle magazine. And some more tea trivia too. 62% of Americans claim to own more than 10 t-shirts. That's 1.5 billion tees, and if you line them up, they'd circle the globe 34 times. We also have a variation. Cut out the neckband for a more rough-edged look. And you could also use scraps from 2 different t-shirts if you want to have unmatched ruffles. Here is a comfort corset. That's an interesting idea. Comfort corset. Right here. It's clearly corset inspired, but made out of t-shirts. The comfort level, like Spinal Tap's amp, goes to 11. Granted, it won't give you a 10-inch waist, but it won't crush your spleen either. This is a level 2 for difficulty, so it looks like it's pretty easy. For ingredients, you need 1 t-shirt in a size medium, scissors, ruler, and tailor's chalk. Step number 1, lay the t-shirt flat. Trim about 2 inches off the ends of the sleeves and about 1 inch off the bottom of the shirt, just above the hem stitching. And you're going to use that in step 5. Step number 2, cut out the neckband to about 2 inches from the shoulder seams at each side. So it's going to come out like that. Step number 3, on the back of the t-shirt and starting at the sides of the neckline, cut a scoop measuring about 10 inches down from the center of the neckline. And step number 4, about 1 inch from the new neck edge, snip 4 small incisions evenly spaced along both sides of the scoop as shown. So that's where your lacing is going to go through. Step number 5, thread the 1-inch hem from step 1, cut into a single strip, through the small holes, crisscrossing from bottom to top as if you were lacing a shoe. Optional, use a ribbon or a t-shirt strip of a contrasting color. You could also use a shoelace or something if you wanted, or a piece of yarn or whatever. Step number 6, put on the shirt and gently tie the 2 ends together at the top and trim the ends as necessary. And for a variation, layer a fitted tank top underneath and wear the comfort corset backward with the lacing in the front. And here's some more tea trivia. The t-shirt was originally worn as men's underwear. Not until the 1970s was the t-shirt allowed as outerwear in schools. Okay, let's see. Shoulder slash, pin up, half. Oh, this is cool. This one is called halftime. Half of one t-shirt plus half of another t-shirt equals a whole lot of fun. Get ready, sports fans. I like to use this design format to celebrate and illustrate some of the most famous rivalries in sports. Packers versus Bears, Red Sox versus Yankees, or Lakers versus Spurs. Or, if sports aren't your thing, match cheerful with dark, white with black, or pink with army green. Well, that'd be cool. You could do like pink with camouflage. That'd look neat. Pair 2 of your boyfriend's threadbare tees to make him a brand new one. And for this, we are going to need 2 t-shirts in the same size but different colors, scissors, straight pins, an embroidery needle, and embroidery thread. Step number 1, you're going to spread both t-shirts flat and cut them vertically up the center of each, from the bottom hem to the neck, through both layers so that each shirt is in 2 pieces. Step number 2, take the left side of one shirt and match it to the right side of the other shirt, overlapping the fabric a ½ inch along the cut edges, and then pin it in place. And then step number 3, using an external cross stitch, sew the 2 halves together along the pinned edges. Remove the pins and wear it or gift it. You could also use different colored threads too. You could coordinate the thread color to the shirt layout. Let's see. And for variations, with the 2 remaining halves, make a matching yet opposite t-shirt or save them for the no-sew version below. Let's see, for a no-sew version, grab a box of safety pins, small or medium, and attach the 2 halves with horizontally placed safety pins 1 to 2 inches apart. For a less revealing version, overlap the rough edges front and back and attach them with vertically placed safety pins. You can use just one t-shirt, cut vertically up the center, and sew the 2 halves back together again. It's a Humpty Dumpty success story. Oh my gosh, this one is called Ode to the Mullet. Yeah. Inspired by the mullet, it's business in the front, party in the back. The part of me that's fascinated by human anatomy saw a fantastic rib cage effect in the overpriced tee. Now this one is a level 5, so if it's going by difficulty, this one's going to be kind of hard. For this one, you're going to need a t-shirt, scissors or a razor, 1 flap from a cardboard box, tailor's chalk, straight pins, needle, and thread. Alright, so you have your 1 shirt. Lay the t-shirt flat and cut off the hemmed ends of the sleeves. Cut off the bottom of the shirt just above the hem stitching and cut out the neckband. Step number 2, flip the shirt over and insert the cardboard between the front and back layers. You're going to leave the center 2 inches untouched. Mark it with chalk to make cutting easier. Make an even number of horizontal cuts 1 inch apart along the back of the shirt from mid-sleeve to the bottom of the shirt on both sides of the center margin. The slits should reach from the chalk mark all the way to the sides of the shirt. Step number 3. At the sides of the shirt, snip through every other strip made by the cuts in step 2, starting with the top strip. Step number 4. Down the center margin, mark and cut 2-inch horizontal slits between the strips you snipped through in step 3. Make your cuts at the vertical midpoint between those strips. Step number 5. Now comes the tricky part. Take one of the snipped strips and thread it through the slit you made in the middle, drawing it up through the hole from inside the shirt. Without twisting it, pin it to the side of the shirt it was originally cut from. Repeat the process with the strip on the opposite side of the center margin. Let's see, number 6. Continue repeating step 5 until all strips snipped in step 3 have been pinned back in place. And then number 7, using a whip stitch, sew along each of the pinned areas, removing the pins as you go. Optional. Use safety pins instead of stitches for a no-sew version. Oh, that is interesting. Let's see here. Ooh, this one's pretty. Look, shoulder chic. That is nice. I like that shirt too. That's nice. You know how delis name sandwiches after people, like the Joe DiMaggio Hero or the Kevin Bacon BLT? Well, if this project were a sandwich, I'd name it after myself. This smart cutaway tank represents everything I like a project to be. It's incredibly easy to make and innovative. You work with the existing structure of a t-shirt to create a shape that's new, exciting, and sexy. Shoulder chic showcases, what else? The shoulders, which just happen to be one of my favorite features. And this is a level 1, so should be fairly easy. That is so cute though, I like that. For this you're going to need 1 t-shirt, small, relatively fitted, scissors, chalk, and a ruler. Step number 1, lay the t-shirt flat and cut off the sleeves just inside the seams. Step number 2, measure and mark 2 inches along the neckband from where the neckband and shoulder seam meet. Draw a line from each chalk mark to the bottom of each armhole and repeat on the back. Step number 3, Cut along the chalk lines from the bottom of the armholes to the neckband. Then cut around the edge of the neckband through the shoulder seams on both sides until you reach the corresponding chalk marks on the back. Step number 4. Cut along the 2 chalk lines at the back from the neckband to the bottom of each armhole. And step number 5. Remove excess fabric and try on the tank to show how chic your shoulders can be. And we have one variation here. For a no-sew halter top version, cut through the fabric still connected to the back of the neck piece. Then cut from the bottom of one armhole across the back of the shirt to the bottom of the other, creating a slight scoop. And then I want to find the one. There's a bunch in here. I wanted to show you the one that I want to do. Let me see. There's some really cool ideas in here. I mean, it's something, but there's one in particular that caught my eye. You can even make a t-shirt with a hood. It's coming up. Here it is, number 30. Greek Goddess. I want to make this one. I need to find some shirts that will work. Why do Athena and Aphrodite always look so grand in paintings and statues? Because in addition to roiling the heavens and stirring the passions of men, Greek goddesses knew how to drape cloth around themselves. The sensuous folds lounging along the neckline of this tank top will make you look positively statuesque. Now this is a level 4. It's so pretty though, I like that. It looks nice, and then it kind of hangs down here. For this you're going to need 2 t-shirts, small and large, a ruler, scissors, straight pins, needle, thread, a punk pin, brooch, or sparkly barrette. Well, I have sparkly barrettes. Charity might let me borrow one. Step number 1, lay the large t-shirt flat and cut off the hem above the stitching. Then cut 2 8-inch tubes off the bottom. Step number 2, cut through both tubes to make 2 long 8-inch wide strips. Then lay them end to end and sew along the edges to form one long strip. Step number 3, lay the small shirt flat and cut off the sleeves just inside the seams. Cut out the neckband 2 inches below the seam. So it's going to come down like that. Step number 4, gather up one end of the strip from step 2 and pin it at the bottom of one shoulder strap. Step number 5, loosely drape the strip around the front of the neckline hole to the other shoulder and tack it in place at the base of the strap with straight pins. Continue wrapping the strip over the shoulder and around the back of the neckline, gathering it and tacking it to the straps. Number 6, use a running stitch to sew the strip to the tank top in 4 places, in the front and back of each shoulder strap where you pinned it. Number 7, remove the pins and bring the end of the strip over the shoulder. Put a brooch or a punk pin or clip a barrette around the strip and let the rest hang down the front of the shirt and trim any excess fabric. So there's just a little clip right there. Number 8, arrange the fabric folds just so and show your allegiance to your sisters of Mount Olympus. So I really want to try this. I don't know when I'm going to do it. I need to find some shirts that would look good. I may go to Goodwill and just peruse their t-shirt collection. I really like the way this looks though. It's very pretty. This is not part of it. This is something else. But yeah, I definitely want to try that one sometime. So that is all we're going to look at today. Just some little ideas for making things out of t-shirts. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again really soon.